Good morning, Chicago and the rest of the world. Welcome to the Money, Sex, Gen X podcast. I'm your host with the most, the Scottie Pippen of podcast pimping. Call me Winter, because I'm cold. Mr. Eric McLeod. And I am not alone. I am joined by the Titan of Teen Tech, music mogul in the making, the Rasheed Wallace of stock market knowledge.
Come through.
My co-host, my brother,
Indeed.
The homie, Big Stu.
You already know what it is. You already know.
Big Stu, what is going on, man? Hey, and this is everybody. This is season 4, episode 1 of the Money, Sex, Gen X podcast. We're gonna get into a really good topic, but first and foremost, Stu, how you been, brother?
Man, I am blessed and highly favored, brother. Glad to be here, man. Glad to be here. All right. How are you, my brother?
I'm doing good. I enjoyed the time off that we took, but after a couple of weeks, I was ready to get back going. So I'm excited about today.
Really?
Yes,
really?
Sir.
You was looking forward to getting back. We've been off for how long now?
I think we took about 8 weeks off, man, at least. Yeah, man. And I told you when we did our Wisdom Wednesdays the other day, I told you I was going to get the date that the podcast started. So I did get that.
What was our anniversary date, bro?
Our anniversary date just passed. It was April 5th. Yeah, man. It was the 1-year anniversary of the Money, Sex, Gen X podcast. So we are excited about that.
That's heavy. That's what's up, man. That's dope.
Yes, sir. I got to shout out your ensemble. You're killing them today with the bow tie. I love it.
Shout out to my lady to be coming through with these fresh bow ties for me, man.
Yes.
And shout out to you for stepping the game up, man. Look at you, man, all fresh and fly as usual.
I appreciate it, brother. I'm trying to do my thing.
Your fedora, and some merch. You rocking some merch too?
I'm rocking the merch. Hey, why don't you tell people where they can get some MSG merch?
Well, our people can go to the Money, Sex, Gen X podcast.com website. Click on where it says Money, Sex, Gen X shop and get to shopping.
Okay.
Get to shopping. We got tanks. It's summertime. Still a little chilly out. We got hoodies. You got to stay masked up. We got socks and backpacks and jackets and, man, towels, bath towels, and we got drawers. Ladies, you want to get some drawers for your guy, go grab them some drawers. We got some leggings for you.
No doubt.
Go cop, man. Go cop. Money, Sex, Gen X podcast.com.
Yes, sir. And we got my favorite thing that we offer, which is the mug with the red piping. I see we got a black option as well. Go get that. You can drink your coffee in style.
Indeed. We got the red piping and the black, as you just said. Red, black, man. You know what it is. E.
No doubt. Support us on this merch. This is not about us trying to collect a dollar. It's about us trying to put merch out there to further the culture. We take that money and we put it back into the show so we can bring better and better segments each and every week.
Indeed.
All right. So today, Stu, we got a really good topic today. We usually try to ask a question each week with our topics. And today we have should I, or really it should be should you, should you file bankruptcy?
Wow.
Now, Mark, if you can bring on our guest, we do have a special guest today, and we're going to meet her in a second. She is actually an expert in bankruptcy. Shakeena Melbourne. She's also a really good friend of mine. I just told Stu she's one of my best friends in the world. I consider her that. And we're going to talk to her. I'm going to give you the corporate bio, and then we're going to get into who she really is. So Shakeena Melbourne is the principal attorney of Upton Law PLLC, which is a law firm that specializes in business and bankruptcy. Ms. Melbourne is a licensed attorney. Don't get it twisted. She is admitted in the United States District Court for the Eastern District of Michigan the United States District Court for the Western District of Michigan, and all of the local Michigan state courts.
Come through.
Wow.
Let me come through.
No.
Right. That's the little corporate thing. Now I'm gonna ask you, Shekinah, who are you? Who you be? Who do you be? Like, who are you outside of the corporate situation?
Ooh, disrespectful. First of all, I was not ready for your questions. And I wanted to introduce myself by saying you was trying to play me on your fedora. So I noticed that you be wearing your hat a lot on the show. So I wanted to make sure I took the time to put mine on today.
No question.
Who am
I told Betty I gotta come correct because I know Shekinah gonna have a crazy hat on. I knew that.
No, it's Sunday. I'm chilling today, you know. But I did bring Tiffany with me. I had to bring the Tiffany with me today. With my sports gear. I'm going walking today. All right. Got to get that pressure together. No, who am I? I am, I believe, an attorney on a mission.
Okay.
And the mission is to help a lot of people that look like me, but even if they don't look like me, erase some things of their past that's holding them back from their future.
Wow.
And that's my mission. So that includes bankruptcy, but that also includes expungement, like getting rid of a criminal record. That includes business strategists. That's what I call it, because sometimes we start businesses and we don't know what to do next. So instead of simply just hiring an attorney just to do the paperwork, sometimes I might help people get some resources, like an accountant, like a financial advisor, like
That's the goat right there. That's the goat with it right there.
Other people in the network to help people move towards not just having a business, but having a successful business.
I love it. I love it. So, and where are you from, Shekinah? Where'd you grow up?
So I am born and raised in Los Angeles, California, but I consider it the golden child because I was the only one in the family born in America. My family's originally from Jamaica. Well, no disrespect to my niece and my nephews now that are now born in America, but I was the first one born in America. And today I am in Detroit, Michigan.
Okay. Yeah, we see you got the Cali swag. So I'm sure people who were probably knew that you were from Cali. So I wanted to tell people real quick how we met. I'm not going to mention the firm because I just don't want to do that. But Shekinah and I met probably about 8 years ago, maybe 8.
2012.
Yeah, so 9 years ago.
Yeah.
We were both in a corporate real estate firm, and we were doing some pretty sophisticated real estate transactional work. And Shekinah came through one year, and we hit it off from there. That firm was interesting because I think, and there were some characters there, but I think what we learned is a foundation that kind of helped us get into a lot of other scenarios in business, finance, real estate, and all that stuff down the road. Would you agree with that?
Yes, that's the perfect explanation. Absolutely. I was in law school, and as part of the law school, I went to Cooley Law School here in Michigan. And as part of the process, you had to do what's called an externship. And an externship is a little bit more than an internship, where you get law school credit, but you're required to basically work 40 hours a week as if you were a practicing attorney.
Absolutely.
And so the title I had was the extern for one of the partners. So one of the attorneys that owned the firm or was in ownership of the firm. Mm-hmm. And I put it like this. Eric found more things for me to do.
No doubt.
This is how we start connecting and building. And I'll never forget because we used to go to the Apple store at lunch break.
Yeah.
Because I'm an Apple junkie. Yeah. And figuring out ways on how we were going to move into our next. and whatever
Absolutely.
that meant.
And you know what I'm remembering too now that you're saying this, I want to bring this up and then I want to get Stu into this conversation a little more too. But you were around when we were first starting the Greater Inglewood CDC too.
That is correct.
Because I remember you went to the inaugural fundraiser that we had at Sakar. What is it called? What's that restaurant on 63rd? It's a really nice restaurant on 63rd by the part of Kennedy King College.
Birdcage.
I know it's another one that starts with it's a culinary arts school, but they created
inside of the Kennedy King College, right?
Yeah. It starts with
the Birdcage must be it. I'll find it.
Okay. So I remember we had that inaugural fundraiser. You came through and supported. And so I really appreciated that. That experience took me in a lot of different directions. So, and even Stu ended up doing business with the CDC later on.
That is correct.
Yeah. I worked with Perry Gunn when he was the executive director. I've worked with them for about 7 years now.
And I think you were working with Jim Harbin too.
Yeah.
So it took us in a lot of different directions. So that's how we met. So over time, we've been keeping in touch. We've been referring each other clients and all of that. Over time, you start getting really deep into this bankruptcy situation. But before we go back into that, I want to ask Stu, what has your experience been with bankruptcy?
Well, I've never filed a bankruptcy. I don't know if that's the right decision or not. My experience with bankruptcy is seeing, more from the corporate side, seeing businesses restructure, kind of wipe away debt and start refresh. But the number I have inquired about in bankruptcies, but it's always been unclear to me how it works. And quite honestly, if they ain't talking about removing that student loan, I think I personally am good. But I don't know. Maybe I'm missing an opportunity. So I'm here to learn today.
Okay.
That's my experience with bankruptcies.
Okay. I actually did file bankruptcy when I was 18. I think I was 18. And so I put out a little video on IG this morning where I was just talking about that whole experience. And I want to talk to you about, was that the right or wrong way to go about it? But it was crazy how it happened, right? So a quick story. I had moved into a new neighborhood and I had been out hanging out with friends. We were drinking and all that. And I remember I was hanging out with this young lady that I had just met from Baltimore that day. We were hanging out. We had a really good time. And so I came home and my homeboy dropped me off. And I literally had my hand on the door of my apartment door. And just as I was about to go into the door, these young ladies pulled up in this whip and they were like, "Yo, who are you? What's going on?" And they were just trying to talk to me. So I walked over to the car and started chatting with them. And then they were like, "Look, why don't you go with us? We're about to go ride around and have some fun." So I jumped in the car with them. I remember chatting with them for maybe 30 seconds because we were all have been drinking. They were drinking before they even came with me, and I had been drinking all day long. I remember chatting with them for about 30 seconds. I remember hearing a crash. And then I don't remember anything else until I woke up in the hospital. I looked up and my parents said, "Eric, you almost died."
Wow.
Now I'm 18, 19 years old. So what happened was my pelvis was broken in several different places.
Oh, man.
And I had all these different injuries or whatever, right? So coming to find out, the young lady who was driving the car, she ended up crashing. Because I guess it was because she was drinking, but she ran into a wall. And so fast forward, the insurance companies ended up getting involved. My dad had some kind of insurance policy that covered all types of different stuff. So it wasn't clear whether her insurance company was going to cover it or my dad's. So they started doing all these investigations. Anyway, her insurance company ended up having to cover the situation. My attorney at the time, Shekinah, told me that if I were to file bankruptcy, I would be able to keep more of the proceeds from the insurance. I had some kind of insurance policy that covered And so I'm young, I'm 18, 19 years old. I'm like, yeah, if I get to keep more of the money, I'll file bankruptcy. So I filed bankruptcy and I got the money and that was it. And as I said on the video this morning, I don't know if that was a good move. I wasn't really like monitoring my credit and all this stuff at that time. So by the time I started really being aware of my credit, that was already off after 7 years had passed. So that's my experience with bankruptcy.
Wow.
That's funny because for me, I didn't even know anyone who had filed bankruptcy at the time I started doing it.
Wow. And how long you been doing this now?
So I've been practicing bankruptcy law for 5 years.
And you didn't know anyone that had filed bankruptcy until today?
Well,
no,
now I have clients, but
you hadn't known anyone personally. Okay. All right.
Exactly. Because in law school, bankruptcy is not a required class, at least the law school I went to. But when I talked to other attorneys, it wasn't either. And many schools that teach bankruptcy teach it on the ISU was talking about, which is when businesses file bankruptcies, which is Chapter 11.
Yeah.
But when it comes to the consumer, which is the situation that Eric is explaining, it's more of a trial and error on the attorney side as well as the individual on what happens next. They're in the process of trying to create some forms of programs or classes or something to teach consumer bankruptcy, but for the most part, it's you learn on the go or you're going to read a whole bunch of pages. The advantage or disadvantage for me is that the firm I was working at forced me to read all the pages. So I learned bankruptcy on the theory side and then on the company side. So I originally was representing companies when the individual filed bankruptcy. And that was like car finance companies, banks, mortgages, utility bills, like water, light, and stuff like that. After a couple of years, though, I realized, I want to say this in general, but I know this for sure in Michigan, bankruptcy was like the NBA. It was primarily ran and owned by non-African Americans. And most of the players were African Americans.
Wow.
And no one looks at it that way because in the African American community, a lot of times we say stuff like, it's bad. But then once you file and then you talk to 2 or 3 of your friends, you find out they filed before, their mama filed, their cousin filed, the pastor filed. And it's like, wait a minute now. Y'all was saying it like y'all was so scared.
Right.
Yeah.
And all these people filed with you. Which
So
doesn't make sense.
I do have I know somebody close to me that has filed bankruptcy multiple times. So my down and dirty is Eric, is the restaurant Shekinah?
Shekinah, yes, sir. That's the one.
Right, that's the one in King.
Shekinah. Beautiful place.
Yeah.
I have to check that out. But I kind of want to know down and dirty, like, what's the pros and cons of filing bankruptcy as a consumer, like as an individual, a regular schmegler? Why should I and when should I file bankruptcy? Eric, I'm sure we're going to get to that at some point, right?
Yeah, I want to get to that in a second. I want to do this real quick before I forget those two. In Shekinah, we do this every episode. We have something called the actual factuals.
Yeah.
Okay.
Where we attempt to give some facts, figures, and definitions for whatever it is that we're talking about.
Okay.
We got a wonderful researcher that went and pulled some research. So this is kind of defining. So, because sometimes we talk about subjects and we assume that everybody knows what we're talking about, right?
Yes.
We have the word bankruptcy is thrown around a lot, but what is it? So this is what we found, and let's discuss it after we go through this. So the basic definition that I found that I thought was simple was it's a legal proceeding involving a person or a business. They can't pay their debts for some reason. The process begins with a petition that's filed by the debtor, who is the person who owes the money, on or behalf of the creditors, or on behalf of creditors. All of the debtor's assets are measured and evaluated, and the assets that they do have may be used to repay a portion of the outstanding debt. It's a decent definition. Then, and I want to ask you about this, we found, and I don't know if this is true, there are supposed to be 6 types of bankruptcy, chapter 7, chapter 13, 11, 9, 12, 15. And then the last thing that we came up with is the system is operated by the U.S. bankruptcy courts, which are subunits of the federal district court system.
Wow.
Okay, so the answer to the question is yes, no, yes.
Okay.
Okay. So yes to the definition of bankruptcy, but it depends on the chapter of the bankruptcy to determine if assets are going to be taken to repay creditors or not.
Okay.
No to the 6 or 7 chapters. Think about a chapter book.
Okay.
A chapter book goes chapter 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The 6 or 7 that listed are the most common. But the reason they're called chapters is because...
Wow.
Hey, that's why they call them actual factual. You got to get the
right
info.
They're the most common, but the bankruptcy book itself, because again, I had to read the books. I went back to the law library and grabbed every bankruptcy book I found in order to learn it. There is different chapters in between the ones that's listed. That'd be saying a book only has chapter 1, chapter 7.
Exactly.
What happens to 1 through 7?
Why would you
Right.
Correct.
Where's the chapter? Right. So how many chapters in this book?
Oh, it's a whole grid. I think in total it might be 20 something chapters of bankruptcy.
I didn't know that. I did not know that.
So it's loopholes after loopholes after loopholes.
Correct.
Okay.
The thing about bankruptcy. Okay, so do you like puzzles?
Do you like what?
Puzzles.
I like puzzles. I like puzzles.
So I'm a puzzle person. Like I like puzzles so much I got tattoos of puzzle pieces. That's
yeah.
Okay.
Gotta put the pieces together.
Exactly. That's the point, right? Well, bankruptcy is a puzzle. Everyone isn't supposed to understand it. That's what makes it so cool.
Wow. Now, why do you say that now? Why do you say that? Why do you think that everybody
I'm about to
hold on. Time out. Because I don't think people realize the heftiness and what's being dropped on people today. Oh, look, this is the type of shit to get people shut down right here.
Oh, I'm a monster.
Come on.
Listen.
I already know this is heavy. This is the shit they don't want you to know right here.
Well, yeah, because here's the deal. All right. I like to, once I learn something, I like to break it down in the lowest point of view possible. I was always taught the only way you can teach someone something is if you understand it in a way that you can teach it to someone else, right? So understand that to be true. Bankruptcy is such a specialty of the law that there's only about this many people who actually know how to do it.
Okay.
And of the this many people, it's only this many people that really know how to play the game. Think about like the game of life or one of the games where you're trying to do the mystery and find out who's the killer.
Yeah.
That's how deep bankruptcy goes. It can be so detailed that if you don't understand, you're either going to get played in the system or the system's going to play you. And that goes for the attorney as well as the person or the company that's filing the bankruptcy.
I got to ask you this now. We both kind of came up doing real estate. Do you feel like it's even less people who are knowledgeable than real estate?
Yes.
Because a lot of people act like they know how to do real estate, but we know that that's not necessarily.
I was told I have like 6 mentors, right? And I like to get mentors that are at least 10 years older than me because I learned that the whys is really true. And it comes from experience above, right? So if I'm talking to a mentor who's saying to me, hey, there's a common saying in life, you can always know just enough to get in trouble, but you'll know enough that you're on the line of not to get in trouble.
Right.
That's how most people understand bankruptcy. When I tell you bankruptcy covers more areas of the law than any other law, you say, wait, what? You can file a bankruptcy and change your real estate transaction. You can file a bankruptcy and stop an eviction. You can file a bankruptcy and stop a lawsuit. Like in your situation, that's basically what they did. I'm gonna stop this lawsuit, put it on pause like your DVR, and then we're gonna play this law game a different way.
Okay.
It's almost a reset. It's a reset.
It's a reset, but it's a reset depending on your situation. Bankruptcy, to me, even though I never filed bankruptcy, can I cuss on here?
Yes.
Okay. Bankruptcy is the best shit to slice bread.
Okay.
And nobody understands the game that's being played because you can get out of so many things. In our communities or in our neighborhoods, we know just enough, right? So we hear these stories about, oh, well, I don't know if you should file bankruptcy because Johnny lost his house. Well, Johnny lost his house one or two ways. Johnny lost the house because either Johnny filed the bankruptcy alone and didn't understand. Oh, it's three ways. Johnny lost the house and he filed the bankruptcy alone and he didn't understand. Two, Johnny lost the house with an attorney who didn't completely understand the game.
Mm.
Or three, Johnny got rid of his house in bankruptcy without it being a foreclosure on his credit.
Right. Yeah.
What do you mean? Bankruptcy get rid of repos. Before the repo, after the repo get off your credit, just wallakazam. They can't come after you for the loan money that you're left in owing. They can't come after you for the impound cost, towing cost, nothing. It just goes.
What about the impact to your credit? I think for me, it's two things for me, and I'm going to use. I'm interested in your services. So I'm going to use this opportunity.
Okay.
Get it for what I can, and look, if y'all listening, y'all missing out for not being here. You need to tap in.
Stu, before you do that, let them know where we at.
Man, we at the Money Sex Gen X podcast, season 4 coming out the gates, guns blazing. What's that they be doing on TikTok? We coming like that. We coming like that on season 4. See episode 1. We are with Shakeena Melbourne, principal attorney of Upton Law. We're discussing should you file bankruptcy. MoneySexGenXPodcast.com. Shekinah, listen, I'm concerned about two things.
Yeah.
There's doggone, I went to HBCU, Southern University, Baton Rouge in the building. You know what it is. There's student loan, and that's not paid off yet, and my credit score. Okay. So I wanna get rid of this student loan, which they say I can't, and I don't wanna hurt my credit score. All of these bankruptcies, how do they impact my credit score?
Okay, so this is where I have to put on my lawyer disclaimer, okay?
Yeah.
So a bankruptcy is based on a case-by-case basis, right? There's never real general rules, and that's what makes bankruptcy so much more complicated than other areas of law, and this is why it can trump other areas of the law. It's because it's really a case-by-case basis. Some people have been able to get rid of student loans in bankruptcy. It's a little more of a process to get rid of your student loans. Like it is a huge scrutiny, right? But it exists. There's also been a bill that has been pending, and they're trying to figure out exactly how they're going to do this because of getting rid of student loans in bankruptcy. One of the biggest problems I think they're having with the bill is the how. How do we implement this without tanking the student loan economics? Because here's the thing. I don't know if you know this, but a good 80 to 90% of us lawyers got student loans. I got $300K. Okay. If that bill come out and it says I can file bankruptcy, I'm closing the shop for them 30. I'm just being honest. I am being honest. I am closing up shop for a good 3-6 months, and I'm filing my damn self.
Make sure that goes through.
Right? So I'm just throwing it out there, right? So again, most attorneys, which are also politicians, have student loans. How do we not tank the system if we let this bill go through? That's one, right? As it relates to credit score, again, it depends. If your credit score 300 and 400, Would you have to lose? And a lot of people actually be saying that. Like, sir, are you serious? You can't get no credit anyway. What are you talking about? You must know mine. Right? On the flip side, it's two sides to the coin. Because of the FICO score formula, the lower your credit score actually increases by filing bankruptcy. You keep the history. So, one of the factors of the FICO score is how long you had credit for.
Right.
So if you had credit for 10, 12 years and we take off all the collections, we take off all the late fees and anything that says red, it can only go up. So I've had clients that filed bankruptcy, like a Chapter 7, which is 90 days from start to finish. And within, 90 days, 3 months, so by 6 months, they had a credit score of 750. I've seen clients file even a Chapter 13, which is where you're paying a portion of your debts back to the creditors. Their credit score has went up 124. Now, I've also seen someone who have a 700 credit score, their credit score goes down because of filing bankruptcy. And that's because of the formula and the way it was assessed based on their credit score amount or number. So it just depends.
Damn,
Also, people like also some people say, "Oh my God, it's gonna be on my credit for 7 years." Everything's on your credit for 7 years. What are you talking about? Good or bad? The collections is sitting there, and even when it came up, they have up to 10 years to sue you, so it's still secretly sitting there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
what are you saying?
Yeah,
Correct. What are you saying? Within 6 months of filing a Chapter 7, I've seen people go lease Mercedes-Benz and damn near Maseratis. Like, are you serious?
Yeah.
In 2 years of filing bankruptcy, you can go into a mortgage company and get a regular conventional loan. Because again, if you started at 300 of a credit score, 2 years later, you have 750.
You good.
You make a decent amount of money. You can, assure the lender that you can pay. Then they will still lend to you.
I actually have a family member who did that. So he filed bankruptcy, and then within a year, not only did he get a mortgage, he got a construction mortgage.
Yeah.
Oh, so it was good. It wasn't even a full year. He did that.
Because you have to remember, it's something the law has provided. This ain't no get rich quick scheme. It ain't no loophole, the cheat sheet you found on YouTube for your video game. The law bankruptcy has been around since like early 1900s. This isn't a fake thing. It ain't new to the system. It ain't new to the game. They changed the laws to allow people to have more advantages in 2006, which is called BAPSIBA. After 2006, it was still a game changer. It's not anything new to the law. It's been here.
Okay.
Give me 3 things. I don't think you prepped for this either. I know you didn't because I didn't ask you this and this just came to me.
Oh, bankruptcy right here. I eat, sleep, and shit this.
Come through. That's what I'm giving to you. I know who's high valued in this room. So 3 things. Right. And Eric, we have a free download resource for people. And we'll talk about that at the end of the show.
Yeah.
Give me a couple of things I need to consider if I should file bankruptcy or not. Like what, my credit score is, it's a gamble, right? It is what it is, but I make the money, right? And my reputation precedes me, and I'm a good dude. And should I file bankruptcy? What should I be thinking about? How do I make the determination of whether I should or shouldn't?
And let's use a scenario where this person he's describing they earn $100,000 a year. So their income is not low. Because that's another thing I wanted to get into when a person has what they consider to be a high income.
Okay. So I'm going to put it like this. So I've come up mentally with my own secret formula for bankruptcy that I know can go through the system without issues and problems. In fact, I've been working on a book for the last year it's a 3-part series. Hopefully it'll come out this summer, but it's about bankruptcies and a lot of the answers to the questions that you're referring to, right? So on average, most consumers, which are any individual, will qualify for either Chapter 7 or Chapter 13 bankruptcy, right? Chapter 7, both of them have formulas to determine which chapter you would fall into. So I love when clients call, I want to file it. No, that ain't how it works. Okay, it's a formula on the actual bankruptcy side.
Now,
right?
why are they calling? Why are they calling with a specific chapter in mind? Are they Googling something or what's going on?
Of course, and you know, my cousin baby mama friend said she filed and she filed Chapter 7. It got worked out. She want to do the same. Okay, that's not how it works. On average, someone who makes over $65,000 is going to have to file a Chapter 13.
Over 65,000, you filed Chapter 13. Under correct. 65, you filed Chapter 7.
That is correct.
Okay.
That's the easiest way to describe it. Part of the formula, just like a FICO score, there's a formula, FICO score. There's a formula to which chapter you're going to file. One part of the chapter is, what does your last year's tax return say of your gross annual income?
Gross annual income, okay.
Correct. On the other side is, what is your monthly income to expenses? Here's why, right. So here's why someone still might make $100K and still qualify for a Chapter 7.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Let's say you have $100,000, but your mortgage, when you get your monthly income might be, let's say, $5,000. But when you get to your expenses between your mortgage, your car note, your child care, you know, the food, how many kids you have, your expenses exceed the $5,000 of income.
Okay.
Or
which is common.
Correct.
Yeah.
The Chapter 7 gives you a wiggle room between it's a wiggle room of $200 between your income and expenses. So when you subtract the two, if you have $200 left over or less than $200 left over, you may still qualify for a Chapter 7. If for some reason, because your expenses that the bankruptcy court is looking at is your necessities. So they're not looking at, you know, how much you paying on Hulu and Netflix and these 5 other things you watching TV on. They look at your rent, your renter's insurance, or your mortgage insurance. They look at car note, car insurance, about how much are you paying in food? Are you paying your children's education costs? If they're going to private school, are you paying the tuition? They factor in your actual necessities. Okay. Not your credit card bills, not your personal loans, nothing like that. If that window is $200 or less, then you may still qualify for Chapter 7. If after your expenses and income exceeds $200, that's another way they might require you to file a Chapter 13, which is, hey, you're still going to pay your creditors back, but you're going to pay it only a percentage of it. It's basically a pro rata basis. So again, that's another formula where depending on how much you owe, like let's say you owe a credit card company $10,000, but based on your income, based on your expenses, we're only going to pay 10% of that $10,000 over time. And after a Chapter 13 runs 3 to 5 years. So after, let's say, 3 years, you only pay $3,000 towards the $10,000 for the credit card. At that point, you then will be able to get discharged and don't have to pay the rest of the money.
Okay.
So are you saying, because I'm a lot of that was just like, right?
I know. That's why I started with, this is a case-by-case basis.
Right. A lot of that hard because it is such a technical subject. You know what I mean?
It's very technical.
But again, this is why I started with, it's a puzzle. If I introduce you to a puzzle and there's multiple pieces to the puzzle,
that's right.
This is how it works.
That's great. Now, and this is why you are such a rare gem. This is why you're such a diamond. Yeah. No, that's dope. You got it figured out. And we need to know you. We need to be in tune because we're all about here at the Money Section X podcast. And Eric, this is Eric's baby. You know, man, empowering people, upwardly mobile, conscious people, giving them the tools and resources and access to make the best decisions for their lives so they can live, you know, the best life that they want to live. Did I get it right, E?
You did. I mean, it's funny because there's so many things happening on social media these days that we still feel like a lot of subjects are being discussed. But when it gets down to the actual understanding of things, we still see these significant gaps. And so that's why Stu and I wanted to do this. We need to be talking to a Shekinah for 45 minutes because it's too much noise on social media. Like there might be somebody else talking about the same thing, but you just didn't catch it the other 5 times. And so we're just trying to get in that cycle of information that's out there.
Look, but I mean, this is Stu's moment of what was that? I forgot what the name of it was. But my moment of disclosure. Okay. So before our former president became president, I really liked that dude. I was a huge fan of that dude. He was on Will Smith. He was, had that great TV show, The Apprentice, is hanging out with Snoop Dogg. He was just like a guy that, man, I want to get to that level. And I'm purposefully not saying the man's name. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
but there are stories that he filed bankruptcy like 7 times. Is there a way, and this is a baller move, how do I file, and I don't want to pay shit. I want to walk away. I don't want to pay nothing. I want to get it off the books and start over.
Okay, so we're talking about different chapters of bankruptcy now. He filed Chapter 11 bankruptcy, which is the same thing. Yes.
So that's the
same thing.
Restructuring one.
That is correct. That's the same thing 50 Cent would have filed, where everybody was like, 50 ran out of money because the girl sued him. Okay, that's not really how it works. Chapter 11 bankruptcy is per business.
Okay. Oh, per business. Wait, can you elaborate on that? What do you mean?
Right. Man. So if, the former president owns 7 businesses, each business can file Chapter 11 separately.
Damn.
Whoa.
The man didn't file bankruptcy.
That's right, because there's entities. They're not associated with him. They're their own entities.
50 Cent is not broke. Yeah. The company that she sued, received the judgment on, is the company that he filed bankruptcy with to get rid of the lawsuits. And this is why he still had power in every contract after that. And people are like, how's that possible? Because Curtis probably has the contract with Stars, not the company she sued.
Yeah.
Or a second company he owns.
Yeah.
I hope y'all listening out there. This woman is giving us, this queen is giving us $1 million.
A whole semester.
Oh, this is more than $1 million. This is $5 million worth of game.
$1 million.
It stops you from having to call in and get that initial consultation. You're getting a lot of that information right now.
I actually do consultations for free. It's hard to sell this because a lot of people don't understand it. And a lot of times what happens is we in many communities, because again, it's not a color thing, because I've learned that too, right? In lower income communities, we got so accustomed to the belief of robbing Peter to pay Paul that we'll do this for 8 years, 10 years, 12 years. And I'm telling you, by filing bankruptcy, your immediate fresh start starts the day you file. You ain't got to rob Peter to pay Paul no more. There is no, let me figure it out. This too good to be true. She lying. I get it all the time. I like to tell people when they file bankruptcy to get credit karma. So you're going to get credit karma before you file bankruptcy, or you're going to get it afterwards. Either way, you will actually start seeing the actual movements on a day-to-day on your credit. This is how deep this is. We don't have to keep trying to find a way out. This is the way out. Just walk through the door. It's that simple. And yet it takes more. I have to do more mental counseling for an individual that's going to file bankruptcy than to work on the damn paperwork. I'm going to just be honest.
Right. Because is it because of the stigma, or is it because they just don't understand it conceptually, or both, or what is it? Why is that mental piece so important?
It's both. A lot of the times it's that one random story that I don't know where it started from, that Johnny got his house taken. And if Johnny didn't get his house taken, Karen got her car taken. Karen probably didn't explain, or the attorney who helped her didn't explain, that Karen was able to get rid of a car note that she had in her bankruptcy because the car note was too high and she couldn't pay it anymore, and was able to get rid of the car, give it back to the car lender, and never owe any money on it again. But that's not the story people see. What they see is one day Karen had a car and the repo man came and picked it up.
Right.
We don't see that she signed paperwork that said, I'm done with it, the contract is over, and I don't owe the other $20,000 left on this car. So
really, in those situations, it's the person is making a decision. They're like, yo, I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this car. I'm done. I'm done with it. Literally. It's not the court saying you have to get up out that car. It's the person saying.
Correct.
Okay.
Because what happens a lot of time is we as consumers aren't used to being the person in the driver's seat. When you call the 1-800 number yourself and you call in the company like, I lost my job and I need help, and there's just another random person on the other side of the phone, they're not as welcoming to you. So we on the low income side get so defensive when it comes to our finances that we don't know how to say we really need help, right? And even when you do, you pleading with someone who doesn't have a high position on the other side, right? However, when you file bankruptcy, you bring everybody to the table. You become the person driving in the driver's seat. I want to keep my house, or I want to get rid of it. I want to keep my car, or I want to get rid of it. See, we haven't been taught that we can be the person in the driver's seat controlling our credit scores, or controlling the debts we have and what we want to get rid of, until you file bankruptcy. Though.
So let me see if I'm processing this right. So Daphne Lloyd asked this question. She said, which one allows you to keep your home and car? If I'm understanding you correctly, let me know if I'm not. The one, it's not about which one, it's about the choice that you make as the consumer.
Correct.
So it can be any of them, but you make a choice that I want to keep the car or I don't want to keep it.
Correct. So another part of the formula, right? You own a house. If you own a house and there's a certain amount of equity in your home, then you might have to file a Chapter 13 in order to keep your home because of the significant amount of equity in your home. If you don't have as much equity in the home, like right now, the number is somewhere around $25,000 or something like that. If you're not married. If you're married, it's closer to $50,000 or more in equity in your home. So if you're filing a Chapter 7, one of the things you or your attorney needs to be looking at is how much equity is in your home when you own a home. If you own a home and you own, like in Michigan, it's quite common for people to have rental property here. Mm-hmm. So if you own a home and rental property, I would not suggest you file a Chapter 7. You're in a better position to file a Chapter 13. At that point, you keep your home and your rental properties with no issues, no problem. In Chapter 7, they're going to start questioning you, and should you keep your rental, or maybe we need to sell your rental and get some of the assets from the equity in the rental to pay your creditors back.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
It does. And I'm glad that you're going into this where people have rental properties, because this is another thing that Stu and I try to focus on. So Gen Xer people in general, a lot of people, once they get to the Gen X, they're Gen X, so once they get to their 40s, they're typically doing pretty well financially.
Yes.
A lot of stuff that you see online, a lot of times, it's focused on people who are kind of in a lower income bracket. And we've all been there. I've been that person. There's nothing wrong with it. Everybody has their journey. But we felt like there needed to be more information for the person that they do make $200,000 a year. They do make $250,000. They own 3 or 4 properties and all this stuff.
Correct.
But like you said, and I want to get your thoughts on this. So you're sitting there with that person. They're highly accomplished. They have a high income, but something is off. And now they're in front of you thinking about possibly filing bankruptcy as this person who's been successful, but just things aren't going well.
Right, because you can't control your income and outcome. And what I mean by that, attorneys file bankruptcy. I've seen doctors file bankruptcy.
All
I've
the
seen
time.
pastors of churches file bankruptcy.
Yeah.
The purpose of bankruptcy is to create some leverage between your income and your expenses.
Can you say that one more time, please?
The advantage of filing bankruptcy, I forgot what I just said.
No, it's to create that leverage between.
Yes, it's the leverage. Yes,
between your income and your
expenses.
Your expenses. But what about? See, this is the part. And look, I ain't dating myself. This is the Gen X money, sex, Gen X part. I'm a Gen Xer. So 80s and 90s,
yeah,
people were abusing it though. It was like there were some protocols put in place to stop the use of how like bankruptcy laws were restructured late
Correct.
80s and 90s because of people abusing that. It's like, oh, I filed bankruptcy and then I just ball out. It's like that's irresponsible. So it's not that. It's that, but is there a way to abuse it or?
Don't get me wrong. I was about to say, don't get me wrong. That hasn't significantly changed. I understand it to be true. Most of us learn financial literacy through trial and error. Mm-hmm. So you have people that are called refilers. Refilers are people who intentionally wait every 8 years on the dot. 8 years and 1 day and will file bankruptcy the following day.
Oh, okay.
Because they know
the system gamer people. Yeah.
The system gamers, because they know what is in store. Most of the books that you see online, including Audibles, like I did a whole search on this. Like, is this serious? If I want to file bankruptcy, what's out there for me to know what's out there? And the problem is, there's not enough great information out there. You have financial advisors that say to you.
Stop for a second. Hold on. I'm sorry. It's 2021. The game has changed. Look, Shekinah, you shouldn't even give no more up. You shouldn't even. You shouldn't even give up no more info. And not that we shouldn't share this with our people because we're here to share it. But I think what you have laid down is so heavy that it's got to be digested. It's just got to be. We just got to really just sit and marinate for a second. And the fact that we have access to you. Right now, because I'm not just looking at today. I'm looking at like I work with young people. My young people are in high school, middle school. I drop gems. This conversation I have with my young people. In 20 years, they're gonna be looking at this, what's happening right now, and say, Shakeena Melbourne back in 2001 was dropping the jewels on bankruptcy back then, and I picked up the game, and this is where I'm at today because I learned what my grandparents and my parents didn't know because of you bringing it to us directly. That's how heavy it is right now.
And you got people out there that chimed in saying that they're taking notes right now. So some people, they're taking it extremely serious, like right this moment.
I want that. This is my whole point. The literature of, if I go to Instagram and just post, hey, bankruptcy, y'all, don't nobody like that. You know what they like? The photos when I'm at the marina living out my best life. Like, wow, right? So it's hard to share the information if no one's listening to the information.
Damn.
That's the hard part, right?
Well, you gotta be woke. You gotta be ready to receive.
Correct. And it's a process to receive it because, again, this is what I was saying, it's a case-by-case basis. It's hard to say, hey, this is what's going to work for you. Like, for example, bankruptcy also isn't for everyone. Understand that too. So I also work with credit repair or credit management or whatever you want to call these people who do credit services, because if you, for whatever, don't meet the eligibility, here's the part that people understand. As much as I owe the $300,000, every time I drop my signature on a bankruptcy, this is federal law. This ain't a game. My license is on the line for every time I file a bankruptcy. I can be suspended. My license can be revoked by lying or causing someone that's not qualified for bankruptcy to be in bankruptcy just based on the fact that this is federal law.
No doubt.
So I take it very, very seriously. You have to be really eligible to file. And if you don't, here's a company or two that you should reach out to and talk to them and see if they can fix whatever you need to get to, whether that's a business loan, a mortgage, whatever you need to do for your credit, because bankruptcy is not for you.
Yeah,
For the people who bankruptcy it is for, y'all playing, and y'all need to hurry up before they try to change the law again. And now they scrutinize and make this box even smaller on who can actually qualify.
Now let's talk about this real quick. You were about to mention something about financial advisors. I want you to talk to the financial advisors real quick. When you're a financial advisor and you are out there doing some hardcore financial planning for your client, right? Mm-hmm. In what situation is it important for you as a financial advisor to make the recommendation that, hey, you know what, you need to talk to a bankruptcy attorney? Versus now, this is what most people do as advisors. They say, you know what, this is a situation that can be fixed through just some better debt management.
I think it's when it's too far. I honestly believe everything in life isn't as theoretical. You know, I didn't tell you all of my degrees and stuff, right? But I got a couple of degrees, certifications, you know. So understand to be true, at the end of the day, your gut still matters. Okay. Irrespective of your degrees, certifications, titles, blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. If your gut says this might be pushing it too far,
right?
Stop.
Right. I love that. I love it.
Let them actually go and talk to someone with bankruptcy, because credit management ain't always enough. Debt management ain't always enough. And when it get too far, just stop.
No doubt.
Because here's the thing. You never know if their credit score would actually increase by filing bankruptcy. Again, so this is my point I was making. You have financial advisors, like some of the larger ones who do books and series and seminars, who tell you, hey, don't file, it's a bad thing. They don't actually know enough to tell you that. They just tell you that.
Exactly. Right? No question.
Even in Audibles, like I went and looked through Audibles, the books. You know, everybody don't read by paper no more, they listen. Almost all the books I found were about refilers. People who have filed bankruptcy 3 and 4 times is writing books like, hey, y'all, you should do this. It's so crazy. Wait, what? There's no one really talking about, here's the 50 benefits of filing bankruptcy.
Right. It's always the negativity, actually. No question.
And here in Michigan,
is that to keep it their game? Because you talked about who wrote the laws and who plays it. It's the politicians anyway. Is that to kind of keep it theirs? Like, keep it that good old boy network, like to keep people out, to deter people from, like, is it that? Or
but I don't think they would want people to file, though.
Yeah, there's so much money in it. It wouldn't even make sense to defer you from it or deter you from it. I think it's the lack of knowledge of it. See, the advantage for me is I've been on the side where when people file bankruptcies, and I'm on the company side. And I've been on the side of the people when people are filing bankruptcy. Most people don't go cross and cross, if that makes sense. Think of a prosecutor and a defense attorney. A prosecutor is going to go from one prosecuting county to another prosecuting county to another prosecuting county. A defense attorney is going to go from a public defender to the defender's counsel to their own private criminal defense attorney. They stay on their side of the lane. Most attorneys specialize in one thing on one side of the lane.
No question.
And it's the same thing in bankruptcy. Someone who's always represented people just kind of always represent people. Someone who represents companies kind of always represent companies. I got the advantage to play on both sides of the coin. So I can tell you on the individual side what you need to do so that you can get rid of this old light bill real quick, because nobody talks about that. Bankruptcy actually get rid of the light bill real quick, and you start all over from zero. That water bill, that heat bill, we in Michigan. The heat ain't no joke here, okay? You want payment plans for the next 6 years for 2 winters ago, and the next winter about to come up, right? We about to drop that to zero, and you're going to start all over. Wait, what?
No,
you can do a bankruptcy and actually refinance your mortgage in the bankruptcy. What you mean?
Yeah.
You can refinance your car note in the Chapter 13. What you mean? Your because here, you know, it's Motor City. Your $600, $700, $800, $900 F-150, we can drop that down to like $300. Wait, what?
Wow.
In a bankruptcy. This is what I'm saying. It's not just like talking to the person on the other side. You just call 1-800 customer service. Bankruptcy brings the companies to the table. In the state of Michigan, no company can be all companies have to be represented by an attorney, which means I get to speak to another human being who understands the law and say, hey, this is what we about to do real quick. Well, how do you know we can do that? Because I used to represent Ford Finance. What you mean? I know we can.
And that's what I love about your background. You have that, I've ran into attorneys, they've only done the sort of consumer bankruptcy, but you've been at you've been at a very high level with this. So you can see it from both sides. And I caught the fact that you said that you have a secret formula. I did catch that. I don't know if the people heard that, but when you hear a lawyer say they got a secret formula, that's somebody you need to call. Because what most people are doing, they're using the formulas that everybody else is using. You know what I'm saying? That's just what they're doing. So Shakeena Melbourne says she has a secret bankruptcy formula
from her own research and expertise. She figured, and that's look, I hate to do this, but I'm gonna do it. You know how when they let black folks in and then we just go ahead and remix it, I would call Shekinah like the MJ, the LeBron, the Steph Curry or the Serena or whoever it may be. You're gonna redesign the game. You just remix the game, and now you've allowing some people, responsible people, upwardly mobile, educated black folk to participate.
That's exactly the point.
Trajectory of our future.
That is correct.
You are just changed the trajectory of our future in this one instance right here.
That's the goal.
And you have all ages listening to this information. And I wanted to get into this before we kind of wrap up. But this is what I love about you too. So you're an attorney, you're experienced and all of that. But what I love is you can be yourself. Right? So you showed up today, you rocking your fly hats. Every time I see you, you fly, you got your whole Cali swag going. You know what I'm saying? But you're a lawyer. You're not standing around with some little blouse on, talking corny and all that. Like we're off of that. If you're a financial advisor, you're an engineer, you're a lawyer, I feel like more of us are embracing, I'm gonna be who I am. I know just as much as my counterparts that got the Brooks Brothers on and all of that. But I'm gonna be me. I'm gonna use regular language. I'm gonna break it down so you can understand, and I'm gonna make myself accessible to you.
Yeah,
that is
very important. I got complete blonde hair. I ain't got no hair. I'm living out my best life. I've got my client Marina having this podcast. Understand. I had to also understand my audience. Going into business, understanding the demographics of who I'm trying to attract. I can't be fully suited and booted and attract the people who either know that they need to file or the people who never thought they needed to and they do.
Preach.
Right, you look like the ops. You one of them.
Right. I talk to clients. I got two sides to me, okay? I would just, So I got the, yes, Your Honor, I understand. And then I had nigga, if you don't get your shit done, we don't have a problem, right? You have to, I understood that, or I had to learn and understand that because it's part of the counseling process before someone goes into bankruptcy. You're playing on childhoods. You're playing on seeds that were planted through trial and error. You're playing with failures or the ideas of them being a failure. Because see, some people don't see themselves as, I just don't understand finance. It's like I'm a whole failure in life because I'm financial.
They take it.
You're attacking the emotions, and I have to. I mean, if you need us to pray on the phone, I'm praying with you. Yes, praise them, Jesus, right? Because at the end of the day, we need to develop from the inside out in order to get you to where you're trying to go.
Damn.
And
that's that word,
holistic.
The holistic.
Correct.
Yeah.
Because I don't really talk about all my degrees and stuff because I don't need to be more unrelatable. I'm already an attorney. I'm unrelatable. Let's just like that.
I love that. Thank you. Thank you for saying that. Thank you for saying that. Because I'm on that same page. I'm not going to never talk about none of that stuff because for one, thank you for saying that. That's going to be a clip that we got to cut. But that's why I don't do it, right? And because, first of all, it doesn't really matter because there's too many people that if I wanted to work with Shekinah or if I wanted to work with Scott or Eric, there's too many people that I can go to get confirmation of, does she know what she's doing? Or does he know what I'm doing, right? So you don't have to walk around saying, I went to this school and I have this certification and all that. To me, when you have to do that, you're not really good at what you do.
Dang.
I always felt that.
Dang.
I should be
If
able
you went to this
too.
great school, somebody already know about that. Why do you have to?
Correct. Why would I even have to lie about it? That's the other part. But I have clients that are like that. Don't get me wrong. And I quickly be like, well, first, I already have, okay, I'm Black. Okay, that's already some problem for some people. All right, you're a woman. That's also kind of a problem because the law is a brotherhood, right? Then I have this youth thing, right? Because here I am in my 30s still trying to tell people how to fix their life. Like, girl, you don't know how to fix your life, right? You're still trying to develop your own. Fair. I totally understand that. I respect that. This is why I have mentors that are 10 and 15 years older than me for that reason. Understanding that to be true, I also have clients where I have to show them my license. Like, I don't have to lie. Here's my real license so you can match up the names and make sure you understand this is I am who I am. Because again, especially as Black people, we've been torn down so much that you have to go down to build up.
Damn.
We think we're starting at zero to build up. That's not how this works. Most of us have to go down, especially in the professional services, legal services. This is why you have other nationalities that charge Black people more money. Why? Because that includes your time, the effort, the education cost.
Right. But you know what? I want
to go down to go up.
The thing I noticed too, and this has been my experience, maybe yours is the same. I feel like I have to do that. I haven't had to do that in quite some time. To like, here's my license and all that. I think people are kind of getting away from that. I feel like, but I think it was started because people have been tricked so much. They've been torn down. They've been made to feel like they don't deserve to have an attorney or a financial advisor or whatever it is. But I feel like people are more so now looking at who you've worked with in the past, or what can you point to that you've done that I can go talk to somebody. They look at references a lot. I think LinkedIn has been helpful because it's like, if I do that, I'd be like, why don't you just go look at my LinkedIn page or whatever. That's where all the credentials and all that are.
I'll add in on that too. I think it's just more like, is what you're saying making sense?
Yeah.
Like, you could put anything on LinkedIn. I don't care about none of that. You can put anything on your resume. You can put anything on your website right now. I didn't see that. So when I connect with you, when I get with you, first of all, E, we're going to go back to it. First of all, how did I even get in front of you? It's from a know, like, and trust factor. Right. And if it's from a trusted know, like, if E Money sent you, okay, then I'm trusting it. And then is what you're saying making sense? And Shekinah, since you've been on, you've been knocking it out the park. Knocking it out the park. I don't care.
This is more than what we even expected.
Man, please.
But I'm going to tell you all something. Y'all got all this game today. I do want you all to go to Shekinah's website. Shekinah, can you tell the people where to go to get in front of you or just to learn more about your company?
Yeah, Upton Law. So that's UPTON Law PLLC.com. Got a little bio, my whole little life story, because you got your attorney, you got to tell people who you are, and then there's contact section, and it breaks down a little bit about the different things that the firm works on, like expungements, like bankruptcies, even the business tool, because even in COVID, what we discovered is a lot of people either refuse to go back to work or their jobs completely permanently closed out. So you're left to figuring out a new way to bring in income. No question. And we do things to help people with their businesses, because again, what I'm learning is it's better to be whole than it is to be half-assed.
No doubt.
A lot of us are walking around saying we're business owners, but we don't actually understand business.
Yes, that happens so much. And a lot of people are missing the point of the generational wealth aspect of being a business owner. Correct. Making sure the estate planning is tight. And do I need a buy-sell agreement? Do I need the executive insurance? It's like a lot of those pieces are still getting missed. So And then you can go to Shakeena's LinkedIn page if you want to see all of the degrees and certifications and all of that. You can go over there, Shakeena Melbourne. Check her out.
I got a question. I know, and you weren't even supposed to be on here this long, but it just was flowing. It was flowing. You couldn't stop the flow.
Yeah.
Are attorneys today still charging by the quarter hour? Is it still like that today, or is that?
Man, still your questions.
Because I just had an epiphany, E-Money.
I'm about to tell you. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
My epiphany was that I imagine hanging out with my attorneys more than hanging out with my damn bodyguards.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So talk to me about how attorneys are charging these days.
Okay, I'm gonna tell you what people do, and I'm gonna tell you what I do because I do two different things. Right. So typically attorneys still charge by the hour. Some people do free consultation. More so, they're charging you for a consultation, 30 minutes. Some things are flat rate, some things are hourly, right? But what I did is, because again, based on my demographics, I cut all my costs in half. So I don't have any overhead costs. And what I mean by that is I don't have a building. How do you have a law firm with no building? What are you talking about?
Yeah.
So,
now you did have a building at one point, though, right?
I did, but it was really a co-working space just to meet with people for confidential information, like a will or a trust, right?
Okay.
But for the most part, for me personally, I didn't like sitting at an office desk for 8 hours, right? I like going to coffee shops and going looking outside and, stuff like that. Well, what I didn't realize is it also helped create a warmer environment for people that were uncomfortable. So the whole firm is virtual. I use like 3 softwares, and I can run the firm from a phone, an iPad, or a computer.
God dreams of Wi-Fi.
Correct. And so understanding that to be true, I then also meet people in warm environments. You see, what happens is when you go into a law firm, you have a large cherry wood desk and the bookshelves and all that. People have a bit of anxiety and expectations.
Right.
So if I meet you at the coffee shop, correct. If I meet you at the coffee shop, or I meet, exactly. Or I meet you at, one of my other clients, like clothing stores, stuff like that. Yeah, girl, so what's going on? I can actually talk to you that way. We can be still in a space where it's confidential. We chilling on a couch, or we're chilling at, like the coffee bar. And I learned that this also reduced the anxiety. When I wear gym clothes, believe it or not, we just homies talking.
Right.
I just know how to answer the questions that you couldn't figure out.
Let's talk about that a little bit more real quick for the younger people out there. The fact that, yes, you might have on your tracksuit or whatever, but you are still conducting yourself in a professional manner. Where is that? So let's talk about that for the younger people and maybe some older people. Like, where's the professionalism piece in that? Because some people will say, well, you're not in the suit and tie. That's not professional. Where's the professionalism infused?
This is where we go to all the degrees. I have.
Drop every last one of them right now. Every single last one. Run it. Let's do it.
I went to college and I got
I want to bring it. Here's your moment of shine. Drop every single one, every single school right now.
Certification.
Go out. Show your ass right now.
I'll start backwards, right? So at 25, I had all my degrees. I'm going to start there.
Okay. Pass the bar.
Yep, and everything. So, yeah. So I started college. I went to high school, right? In high school, my senior year, I also completed my first year of college. So I went to UC Riverside, which is in California, and I got my degree in political science and international affairs. Went to college for 3 years. By 21, I started law school. Moved to Michigan, went to law school, and I did a dual program. Most people know of the law degree, which is your Juris Doctorate. Your Juris Doctorate is equivalent to something as like your PhD in education. But there's actually 3 degrees you can get in law. You have your Juris Doctorate, which is the lowest. You have a Master's of Law, and then you have a PhD of Law. So I did a dual program in law school and got my Juris Doctorate and my Master's in Law in Corporate and Finance. In addition to that, because Eric will be able to attest to that, I got my life insurance license. I got a real estate agent
That's your
license.
Series 6? You got your, like Series 6 and all that?
No, I didn't go that far with it because my passion was truly the law.
Okay.
But I wanted to be able to see how I can incorporate the law with these other backgrounds and resources to help people who were in the lower income brackets. So even in law school, I've always wanted to help small businesses or people of low income, but I was always told that it wasn't financially feasible. But if I created a firm that didn't have a significant overhead costs, such as rent, I would be able to do that. So the whole firm's expenses, outside of staff, of course, is like $200. So that I would be able in a position to charge people amounts that they can actually afford.
Absolutely.
To then be able, because in my mind, my motto is I'm going to change you from the inside out.
Let's say this even a little more plainer, because I want to make sure people understood this too. What Shekinah is telling us is she owns her own law firm. And that law firm, because we missed that. I didn't know but let's be clear. Let's be clear. Shekinah owns her own law firm. She owns it. So she can say what she want to do. She can say what she want to say as long as she's not doing that to affect her license and all that. She's good. This is Upton Law is hers. And then what she also said that everybody paid attention to is that law firm operates virtually. And then she come see you at the coffee shop and all that.
Hey, look, Mark, your boy.
It's 5 of us on the team. I consider it an all black female firm.
Elon Musk got SpaceX. Shekinah got Upton Law.
Upton Law, baby.
It's on that level. In the same breath, SpaceX, Upton Law. You heard of them? Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah, it's an all black female firm. We all work from home or wherever we want to work from. Like today, I'm working at the marina. Yeah, I know it's a Sunday, but I have the ability to do that because it doesn't really matter.
And your client owns this marina, right?
Yes, that is correct. He actually owns 2 of them.
Okay.
And so this is just one that I'm at, and I'm working. Yeah, because I mean, the paperwork is still the same. Bankruptcies can be filed electronically at this point. But this is not something COVID related. This is from 2007 is when they started electronic filing.
Do you still need to get licensed in other states if I want to work with you here in Illinois? Or
what a question you have.
Great question.
Because bankruptcy is federal, all I have to do is file one piece of paper and be able to file claims in Illinois. I don't have to take another license exam. I don't have to do none of that. It just has to be worth filing the paperwork because I need a client in order to bring to the federal court in Illinois to say, okay, I'm going to start filing cases here.
Okay. So if you're out there and you are seeing Shekinah and you live in another state, she just said you can work with her. Just call, go to Upton Law, get the consultation. She can work with you. She'll take care of filing the paperwork. We're gonna let you go in a second, Shekinah, because we got one more segment that we got to get to, which is we have a corporate segment that we do each week called Characters in Corporate. And I want to get some submissions from you one day. We don't give people's names. We just give the scenario and then they ask us what we think about it. But before we go, I want you to do 2 things. One, I want you to tell everybody again where they can get with you. And then I want to tell a really quick story. Shekinah was there when I met my wife.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
You remember that day, Shekinah?
Hey, baby girl. Yes.
Yes.
It was at the airport.
Super quick. Back in the day, I had a team. a financial team. And Shekinah was one of the people on my team. We had a convention out in Vegas. Shekinah came through, all these different people on my team. I didn't know Betty yet. So I'm going to the airport to go get Shekinah. Shekinah's like, yo, I'm going to be landing at this time. I go in the airport to get Shekinah.
Oh, wait, don't forget, it was at nighttime. So people always be like, night. Why would you be going to the airport to go, meet with her? That don't make sense. It was at like 10, 11 o'clock at night. Like, can you please come and make sure I get to the hotel properly?
No doubt. Okay. So, I was out partying and doing my thing. I broke away from that to go get my friend. So I'm feeling good. I walked into the airport and I saw Betty sitting on a bench reading. Mm-hmm. I'm like, wow, I ain't never seen nobody reading in Vegas. Like, that's great.
That's the last thing you doing in Vegas.
Yeah, I mean,
reading the map on where to go, but not.
Yeah, and not only was she reading, she had a whole book bag full of stuff she was reading. I'm like, okay, so I was intrigued. So I walked over and introduced myself. After that, I was like, well, my friend is coming, so I got to go get her. And so we exchanged. I think I gave her my number or my email or something. She was kind of looking at me like, all right, whatever. And so I went and got Shekinah, and I started walking back past Betty, and Betty went like this.
Like, oh, for real? That's your friend? Yes, I remember that. Like, that's the kind of friend you went to go get. Okay.
Yeah, I'm looking at Betty. I'm like, why is she doing this? She just sitting there like this, smiling.
Yeah, right. You went to go pick up your girl.
Exactly.
Right. So she was thinking that, like, this dude is on some player stuff. He's talking.
Correct.
Then he gonna go get this girl, and walk past me. So she's like, all right, player, you doing your thing. You know what I'm saying? So I had to get back in touch with Betty later to try to explain to her.
Wait, you didn't do it in that moment? You didn't do it in that moment?
No, because I didn't look. I was so slow in that moment, Stu. I didn't even understand what that meant.
You didn't get it. It's like,
what's she doing?
Yeah, you talked to me about. So we're heading back to the hotel. Like, the craziest thing happened. Why do you think she did that? Of course, I'm a girl, so I'm going to say the girl stuff. She was like, "Oh, for real?" And you like, "Hey, are you serious?"
Oh
I just
my
met her.
God.
I was like, yeah, I don't need you to talk to her because she could see or believe this to be something totally different than what it was.
Exactly.
And that's what happened.
Yeah, that's what happened. So I had to go through a lot to get past that, you know what I'm saying? But we got past it. She finally understood what it was. But yeah,
and we all get along fine.
Yeah, we all get along fine. I had put you on. I got you all connected with each other early on, so it's all love. It's good. We were actually supposed to come to see you all in Detroit in your significant other, but it didn't happen. But yeah. That's the backstory. It's one of the backstories.
See Betty's comment right there, huh?
True story.
That's what happened. It is.
True story. So yeah, that's so Shekinah was there the day I met my wife. Well, no doubt. So hey, thank you for coming through, Shekinah. This was great. I really appreciate it. This I didn't know it was gonna be this good, but I know how you are. Like I know you thoroughly understand anything that you represent. So
that's most important. Like I don't even take people's money until I know that I can solve the problem.
No doubt.
Because I believe your dollar is no different than mine. You had to work hard for it to get it, and I have to work to earn it.
No question.
To all the people that learn of you and decide to call you, please let Shekinah know that you saw her on the Money Sex Gen X podcast. Please. Just let her know that you saw her here. And
I got a couple billboards here now. I got about 5.
Yeah. I love it. And Shekinah, I don't know if you know this. I tell people this is the truth. Like you inspired me to do this podcast. Because Shekinah had her own. I don't know if you know this, too. Shekinah had a show.
Yeah, you told me.
Yeah, she had a show. So I used to see her rock out every week, and I'm like, man, I want to do that. Now Shekinah knows I'm an introvert, so it was a struggle. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Now I know Shekinah's an introvert, so I'm like, okay, if Shekinah could do it, maybe I could do it.
Maybe.
Man,
I'm gonna work on redoing something. Maybe not exactly that show. Because at first I used to shy away from the idea of even talking about the law.
Right.
Because it was important for me to know it, but it was also important for me to know that people were actually interested.
Right.
So the show, we used to talk about everything else but that. And my dad would call me every week and be like, I listened to the show, but why you still haven't brought up anything about the law?
That's what they want to hear.
Yeah, so we're gonna do some reversion of it with like me and the ladies of Upton Law, so that people can also see who's working with them, but even their knowledges, because no one on the team. Let's put it like this: training is important, but experience is important.
No
So,
doubt.
you know, two of the women that work on the bankruptcies have been in bankruptcy for 6-7 years.
Okay.
They can answer the same questions I can answer. There is no real difference. The
Team is
goal
strong.
is correct. Even the person who helps with expungements, like, we really put in the time and effort to actually be able to help.
I think that's important for everybody to know. While we may not work with you directly, we're working with an attorney from your firm, and everybody in that firm is qualified.
Correct.
Don't be like, well, I want to speak to Shekinah because I saw Shekinah. No.
They do it all the time.
Not directly anyway.
Well, because now court is virtual as well, and people don't really realize. But if I'm in court, I feel like it's a disservice if I don't answer you quickly. But if Deidre does, for example, and she can get your answer real quick, and you still keep going on with the journey or the process or whatever you need to do, then it's important to me, because I feel like your time is just as valuable as well.
And everybody shares the same vision for the clients.
That's correct.
To put everybody in a better position. So that's what everybody's working for.
Yes.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Yeah. I mean, they're in the comfort of their home. They better be.
Yeah.
That's another value add.
Correct.
Upton Law PLLC.com. Now, do you have a preferred way that you would like people to reach out, or does it doesn't matter? Like, what if they want to call versus going on a website?
All of it is available. We do Instagram, DM to Instagram. We do Facebook. I get messages on Facebook.
Okay. We know how to get at you, huh? Get at you is what you're saying.
Yeah.
However you
if I
want
don't get it to you today, just know you gotta give me a little time. But
yeah. Get at us. Here it is. Go to the website. Get the numbers and the grams and the socials, and get at them and be patient. These ain't. We're not trapping out here. These are upwardly mobile, highly educated, fraternity and sorority affiliated folk, educated Black folk on here. So we know what it is. We know that everybody's official that comes through the MSG podcast, the Money Section X podcast. And we all winning. We all winning. So I want to say thank you for being here. I'd love to keep you for longer, but I wanted to say thank you for being here, E.
Thank you so much. And I think where we end with is this. The question was, should you file bankruptcy? You got to call Shekinah and find out.
Shekinah, man.
Call her and find out.
I'm calling. I'm about to get my situation righteous, brother.
All right, so you got a client right there. All right, Shekinah, we're going to let you go. Thank you so much. We're going to knock out this other segment, and we will try to get you back on for season 5.
Okay. Yes, please. I want that. All right. Thank you. Take care.
Wow, that was good, man.
Hold up. Let's do this real quick. Reset.
All right, man.
Man, you got to reset, man.
Okay. Well, that was a great segment. Wow. Man, I got a lot out of that. I learned some things that I did not know.
I learned I'm right with you. Ditto.
Yeah, that's good. Good stuff. So we're kicking off season 4, episode 1 with a bang. Wow. We're going to do our last segment, which is we call Characters from Corporate.
Yeah, man.
Dude, can you tell the people why we thought it was important to do this every week? Characters from Corporate.
No, it escapes me. I know it's yours. Okay. But it was like we wanted, I don't remember. I mean, I think let me give you my version. It was like it was important to do this segment just because we know we may have been on some shiesty BS back in the day when we walked our corporate hallways, and
that's right.
We see other cats doing these different segments. So, what do we add to it? And it's our experience in corporate. And we want to let people know that, you are on your journey. You might be feeling if you're out of line or out of pocket, if you're being appropriate or inappropriate, and you come to us and ask us for our opinion about whether or not you are in tune or out of tune, whether you're a character or not. I think that's my remix version of it, but why don't you give a better version if that doesn't suffice?
Hey, brother, I can't do any better than that. That's it, man. I mean, we all wanted to get that mentorship and feedback when we were younger. A lot of us didn't get it, so we're just trying to just add that to the culture. That's all it is. No so doubt. Here's our submission for this week, Stu. This came to us. It says, "Hi, I'm a 43-year-old black man from Philly. Shout out to Philadelphia." He says, Gen X represent. Some of my favorite music artists have come out of Philly, by the way. He says, Gen X represent. Now, he's saying, I've been in corporate for over 20 years. I graduated from Hampton University with an engineering degree. Okay. My wife is also 43. We are in the early stages of a cleaning business startup company. Okay. We have a few clients. We've been doing the work ourselves with our kids in the evenings after our 9 to 5 gigs. I told some of my coworkers recently about what I was doing. My wife found out and got really nervous that I could lose my job if the higher ups in the firm find out. Did I play myself by telling coworkers? Am I a character from corporate for doing that? All right, 43-year-old Philly, Hampton University engineering degree. Apparently, he's at an engineering firm in the area. His wife and I decided to start a business, be entrepreneurs, have something for themselves. Started a cleaning company, doing it with the kids. He was excited about it. He told the people at work, Stu. And now his wife is nervous. Did he play himself by doing that?
I don't think so. I think I dig what his wife's saying. Just fall back a little bit, But if it's after hours, I mean, they're not ditching their work to do it. Depends on they work engineering. I mean, there's no conflict of no conflict of interest. Gotta just make his wife feel okay, comfortable that he's not putting them in jeopardy of losing their job. And the best way to do that, maybe just okay, you got it out, fall back a little bit, but nah, you're not a character. You good. What you think, E?
Okay, so Stu's saying he don't think you're a character. I agree with Stu. I don't think you're a character. I've been there. You're happy. You're excited. Yeah. It's a feeling that a person can't really describe when you have your own company. Yeah. And so it's hard to contain that. So no, I don't think you're a character. I mean, I think you should, like Stu was saying, you might want to be a little careful. You could tell certain people maybe. But hey, it is what it is. The universe works in mysterious ways. Like you could tell them and lose your job. That might actually be what's needed for you to get to where you need to go.
That's right.
So hey, just flow with it. Congratulations to you and your wife, and thank you for that submission. So no, I do not think you're a character for doing it. Yeah. All right. So
I want to clear one piece of. So I didn't have music for the beginning of the show. We have music for the outro.
Okay. Hey,
artists, by the way. Just
real quick, I wanted you to tell people about how your event went for yesterday for Music Spool.
Oh man, yesterday. So MusicSpool.com is a music streaming platform for new and emerging artists. One of the big pieces of the platform is that we educate the artists, kind of like what we did here, but very, very focused on helping these artists monetize their artistry, live off their artistry, become artists. And so yesterday we launched and hosted our very first virtual workshop, music seminar, if you will, featuring Gigi Miller and my boy Gigi Miller, who does artist development, and Terry D, who is the innovator of the song reactor, which helps the artist determine if their song is a hit or not. And without some technical challenges in the beginning, the quality of information was absolutely phenomenal. We had some people chiming in, man. And then we also had a virtual Well, it was actually in-person streaming live performance that took place at Corner 52 in Hyde Park, and that featured Gino Pacino, King Chad, Dawes Lotto, and H2O performed. Okay. And so that was the beginning. That was the first ever. So it's in the books. It's in the bag, man. It was well, and it only gets better from here.
Okay.
So if you are a music enthusiast, you like music, all genres of music, you want to find new music, go to musicspool.com. If you are an emerging artist, go to musicspool.com and upload your music. One last piece I want to say about this season's episode, we have an intro. You just saw a little commercial break. This season's episode features music from a pool artist, our very very own Mark Sanders, who's a producer, Lava Boy.
Wow.
Lava Boy.
All right.
This season's intro video features the music of Lava Boy.
Lava Boy. Okay.
Lava Boy. Go check out Lava Boy on musicspool.com. He has some beats uploaded, and lavaboy.co, I believe is his website. But just want to throw that out there. So thank you for that, man. It was dope. It was a dope event, man.
All right, cool. I did get to see Gino perform. He got that one song that we played last season that I really love. I got to see him perform that. You missed one. You missed probably the most important piece of information that I wanted you to tell people. What do you think that is?
Is it the sponsors?
No, sir. Who's the owner of the platform?
First, let me shout out to all the sponsors of yesterday's event.
Yeah, do that. And then
shout out all the sponsors from Streetwise. Streetwise is a Chicago-based organization that's committed to eradicating homelessness. Shout out to Streetwise. Shout out to Boy So Ill Beats. If you need some beats, check out Boy So Ill Beats. Shout out to Genius Lab, Chicago.com, Genius Lab. They are focused on educating youth, primarily Black and Latinx students, on business and technology and all things considered. Shout out to So Well Productions. So Well Productions, that's owned by H2O. If you need a production of a live event, check out So Well Productions. And shout out to Hubris Global Wealth Management. You want to get your finances in order, personal or professional, for your business. They are the financial therapist. Hubris Global Wealth Management, owned by the yours truly, the very own Eric McLeod. And musicspool.com. I am one of the co-founders of musicspool.com.
All right.
One of the co-founders of musicspool.com. Shout out to Philip, Christian, and Sandro in Bosnia-Herzegovina, my other three co-founders who are building every single line of code from scratch.
This is a serious dude that I got from my co-host. This brother is super ill. Musicspool.com, one of the co-founders. Go check it out.
Check it out, man. All right, so we do have Pool Artist of the Week. And it's actually, do you want Gino Pacino? Let's go Gino Pacino. This one, I don't think, did you hit a gospel joint yet?
No, I did not.
Well, we're going Gino Pacino featuring King Chaz.
Okay.
Moment of Praise. It's right here. Check it out. Praise the Lord for the day. It's only fitting. It's Sunday, right?
No, sir. Yes, sir.
Sunday brunch with Money, Sex, Gen X.
Give it to him.
Sunday brunch with Money, Sex, Gen X. Gino Pacino, featured artist of the week. Here we go.
All right.
Praise the Lord for the day, His mercy great. It's your name of praise. Praise the Lord for the day, His mercy great. It's your name of praise.
Even at my lowest point, I know you was gonna anoint me. The game winner, 0.3. You know when the time is right, and you lay me down at night. I know if I ever did wrong, that you would make it right. Thankful for your willing words, humble in your warm embrace. Every time they tried to tear me down, that smile was on my face. But life is a testament. I knew I was heaven sent. Ever since I'm covered by the blood, I'm in my element. Lived that life of decadence, made me feel irrelevant. Gave my life into my Lord and Savior, I've been better since. They say I'm a better man, I'm hoping you understand. Everything can change with the Lord, I give you my hand. Went from sinner to a saint, never had to contemplate how I made it up until this point, let me reiterate. They say I'm a better man, I'm hoping you understand. Everything can change with the Lord, I give you my hand. Praise the Lord for the day, His mercy great.
Hey, they got to go to the platform to hear the rest of that, bro.
I like that. I really feel like Gino. I'm gonna have to continue to listen to his work. Like,
yeah, I ain't gonna even get. You got to go to musicspool.com to hear the rest of that. That's a banger, bro.
Yes, it is. Another
Chino and King Chaz, man.
No doubt.
Moment of prayer.
Right. So this has been a great episode. Thank you for rocking out with the Money Sex Gen X podcast. Next week, we're going to do a topic called Are You a High Value Man? We're going to get deep into that. I'm looking forward to that conversation. Stu, anything you want to say to the people as we go out?
Ah, man, you got it, man. Mark going to run that commercial, and that's our out. Until next time, brother.
Peace.
Peace.